Hello mates, welcome to Budgie Keat Gaming. I'm your host Finley. Boy, that was one hell of an indie world showcase by Nintendo a few days ago, which is exactly where O was shadow dropped. The O, which is how I'm assuming it is pronounced, is an indie Metroidvania, with a strong emphasis on platforming and puzzle solving. It's a bit odd saying this is a platformer as you can't jump, which is a staple in platforming games, but it still very much has the basic principles of a platformer. You can move right to left, and vice versa. But every other move, including what is the equivalent to jumping, is done by using your bomb. The bomb is used in various and, quite frankly, extremely creative ways to get you through the game. Stand on top of the bomb to have it shoot you up into the air. Stand to the right or left of the bomb to have it quickly thrust you in either direction. While this sounds simple, and it really quite is in the beginning, the difficulty really ramps up about a quarter of a way in, and this is for various reasons. For starters, there are about 8 different sections to the map, with each section introducing new challenges to test your brain. The game doesn't exactly tell you what these challenges are, you just kind of figure them out on your own, but it never feels too frustrating. Well, for the most part anyway. An example of this would be when you have to use your bomb to blow a hole in the wall or ground, even though you've never used your bomb to do this before. Since there is no real indication that you're supposed to blow the wall up, you kind of just figure it out on your own, after realizing there is nothing else to do, so you start dropping your bomb everywhere hoping something will happen. In the first portion of the game, you only have one bomb on you, but a little later in the game you get a second bomb, which helps you reach higher platforms, helps you thrust from one side to the other at double the distance. And most interestingly enough, you can use one bomb to shoot you in one direction, then use the second bomb to thrust you back in the direction you came from. The way you stack the two bombs doesn't seem to matter at first, but the more you play, the more you realize it matters quite a bit. At first, all you really need to do is stack them on top of each other to jump higher. But later on, you need to angle them just right so one bomb can shoot you upwards while the second thrusts you to the right or left, which can lead to some very precise platforming skills. For a game with such simple mechanics, there really is a lot of depth on how you solve the puzzles. I think this goes without saying, but this runs smoothly on both the Switch and Switch 2. Even in handheld mode, it works perfectly and looks fantastic. The art style in general is quite adorable, and the developer, yes, as in one person, did a fantastic job on making each world look different from one another. I particularly like the slimy green world, which gives me major classic Disney villain vibes, which I absolutely adore. I forgot to mention that this game is somewhat of a follow-up to the developer's previous game, Ellickhead. I've never played Ellickhead, but based on what I know of it, both games are kind of similar in the sense that they both have very basic gameplay mechanics that go far deeper than they first appear. How Long to Beat claims this game will take 2 hours to complete, but I find that incredibly hard to believe. I think your first playthrough is going to be roughly 5 or so hours. Mine was actually 6 hours, but I tend to play my games at a slower pace. Now, I've seen people speedrun it on YouTube in under 2 hours, but I have a hard time imagining they pulled that off on their first try, as this game can get tricky, not only with its puzzles, but its platforming as well. Even if you know exactly what you need to do, it doesn't mean it's going to be simple to achieve. As I mentioned earlier, bomb placements matter a lot in the second half of the game. Speaking of speedruns, this is definitely a game with high replayability, as I think it'll be fun to replay after you know all of the puzzles. I feel like it'll be quite satisfying doing a second or third playthrough just to see how far you've come since your first playthrough. Overall, I enjoyed my time with OO. It was a pretty fun experience, even for someone who doesn't particularly care for puzzle games. That said, some of the puzzles did trip me up for quite a while. I feel like it's either one of those games you're going to get a little annoyed with, so you're either going to look up walkthroughs or just play the game in short bursts so you can let the puzzle marinate in your brain, then go back to it later once you thought of a few solutions, which is exactly what I did a few times. I do wish you could bring up the map whenever you pleased. It was pretty annoying that you could only see it when you used the teleport system. Placing the bombs did feel a bit random and finicky at times, though it was never something that felt cheap or broken. And like I mentioned earlier, the vagueness of puzzle solving is a lot of fun, but can be annoying at times, like in the example I gave with using your bomb to blow a hole in the wall. Even though I enjoyed it, I'm not exactly sure that I can recommend it at full price, which is $10.99 on the eShop and $9.99 on Steam. If it goes on sale for $6 or $8, then I think it would be worth it. And that is coming from someone who loves Metroidvanias. Have you played O yet? If not, do you plan on doing so? Let me know down in the comments section below. And please consider hitting that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this content, as it is a huge help for small channels like mine. I have a few more review videos coming out soon which are all showcasing indie games, so keep an eye out for those if you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care, mates!